giant in your hole.
Boopity boopity. Boopity.
It's kinky.
Greetings! I don't even know if they've missed that first part. They have the kinky
There's
at least.
a giant in your hole.
It's too
Oh,
late.
yeah.
It's too late.
You
The
can't-
response of kinky already came out. It's already ruined, Joe. Already ruined.
You can't fit in the hole.
Anyway, greetings everyone. Welcome to Children of Rath. We're playing D&D. Last week was an exciting one. Carrie made the decision to take some specialized drugs created by a witch. Now, granted, this time she was good and consulted Kaz and their angel friend Radiant. These said drugs allowed her to communicate with the effective spirits of her ancestors in a way. Her ancestors being her mother and her grandfather. Her grandfather being basically equivalent to a demon, like a demon prince of hell or a demon lord in terms of normal D&D. Wonderful. Grandpa showed up, taught her how to travel between the planes. But she has to become a full demon and embrace her demonic heritage to do that. She kinda did in her mind, but also did in real life. Much to the chagrin of her friends, who she tried to murder. It went not the poorest for them. They've managed to secure her for now.
And I invaded her mind.
That's where we left off.
We'll get to that, yeah.
Yeah. I will tell you, the lot of you, Wintress, Radiant's not back yet, but at least Kaz, you, Lee, if you're removing spells for switching them out, you hit the little, like, lock, it'll open up, and then you can delete ones.
Yes.
Oh, okay. Cool.
That allows you to delete things. And if it's still a spell that's in the compendium, you can drag or drop it. If not, you'll have to enter it in manually.
Okay.
Which copy and paste comes in handy.
It does, because the main portions, which are the description and the name, are easily copy and paste, and then you just have to fill in the details as they match up between the two parts. It's not too difficult to just fill in the blanks most of the time.
Gotcha.
Just a note for people, Lee discovered that there's more than the compendium to bard spells.
Yeah.
So many more spells.
So many more spells.
Yeah.
So, for those of you, Maxwell, Kaz, you two will definitely see, as, like, Carrie's, demonic form is now bound up by, like, Wintress and being held aloft by, Kaz, your levitation spell. You're getting close to that time now that you probably want to cast it again because she's still struggling. Most definitely.
Well, I had a question about that. I mean, how secure is she in these ropes?
Probably not the most secure. It seems as though Wintress is adding more of them. Basically, let me put it this way. In game terms, every turn that Wintress hits someone, she can attempt to bind them with these. It starts out at her base, basically her base grapple +2. They stick to them. It takes basically an action to remove one. If the person doesn't remove one, Wintress can stick more on there. Each one she sticks on there increases the bonus she gets to basically grappling them by 2, until you get a lot of them on the target, and therefore make it very difficult for them to get off of it.
Okay.
It's a time-consuming thing, but she can basically, like, super grapple people.
Because if Carrie is, like, pretty well bound, I don't know if I need to have Carrie levitated.
Up to you at that point in time. She seems bound very well right now. I'll just leave it at that. But the thing is, you'll then see, like, Claude turn towards Carrie, seemingly concentrate.
Welcome, new citizen of the Empire.
And then you're going to see, like, Claude, still in giant form, just topple over and faceplant on the ground.
It's not doing a lot for my like general feel for this situation.
Yeah.
You probably see, like, the lens on his helmet go over his eye. He stares and then goes.
Yeah. You're not sure if it was, like, something he did, or if it was, like, he was trying to do something and it backlashed because of Carrie's power, or maybe just Carrie's power, like, he was trying to protect against it. You're not sure. Something happened to him. He's unconscious. There's a million, unfortunately, bad reasons behind it. In the meantime,
Okay.
Carrie,
I'm good.
there's a door in front of you.
But is it adorable?
It's now open.
No.
Oh, you.
You, of course, sort of sitting in the background, like, as now, when your grandfather was teaching you stuff, reality kind of twisted to him almost around you, this, like, picturesque little house that you were originally drawn to. Now, like, there's this weird, like, almost juxtaposition that, like, the area of the house has returned towards that kind of idealized little cabin, which is, like, what you remember how your house was with your father when you first came, when you first were, like, escaping away from Urborg. Like, when you, around the time that you lost your mother, I should say. Because I think you lost her before you left Urborg, I believe. Like, your idyllic house, like, in Urborg. I think that's correct, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, so that idyllic house, like, when you were, like, you were very young, it's still that kind of there, and it's kind of got this, like, you know, nice area. It's, like, kind of like you were at the edge of, like, some of the swamplands where it was a little bit more foresty, a little bit more green, a little bit more nicer, had some fields, some area that could be farmland nearby. You were probably in one of the nicer areas of Urborg, as Urborg is mostly swamp, with the areas that are nice, oftentimes occupied by the people, kind of thing. So, yeah. But behind you is that kind of black, swirling void of darkness that seemingly is what your grandfather kind of had brought you into to learn your abilities. You are still looking like a demon, but you feel as though, like, everything is weird prospectively. When you're with your grandfather, you felt large because he was still, like, in a human form, and you felt so much larger than him. But now, you're still in that form, but you're the size of this house. But also, when you look back to him, he seems more akin to your size now, too. You're not sure if he shrunk or not. You didn't feel anything happen. It's just strange. He's just sitting, waiting, watching you at this point in time. You can hear a little, like, humming, or, like, a humming of a tune coming from inside the house.
Yeah, I'm going inside the house.
Mm-hmm. The humming seems to be coming from the little kitchen area.
Head towards the kitchen, I guess.
Okay. You see the back of a person. Looks very familiar. Just seems like they're cleaning a plate or something.
Mom?
Ho! The plate will drop and shatter on the ground. Carrie! Are you back from your play? As she turns around. Huh. She's gonna kind of like look at her hand and then like think for a second and be like, so very strange. I guess it follows us.
What follows us?
You weren't the only one that can do this, I guess. She's gonna kind of mention to like a little table in the dining area to kind of sit down as she kind of takes a chair. Guess I didn't expect this from you. I didn't expect to be here. So strange. Like, I didn't like doing it, but I could always talk to my father if I had a wish.
Yeah, he's not so fun to talk to nowadays.
To be honest, he was a terrible dad. But part of me always also cared for him. Guess you can't hate your parents completely. And to be honest, even in the end, I think part of me, part of him, cared for me.
In his own twisted, fucked up way.
Less twisted than you think. I guess I should start with that before we talk about anything else, because it looks like you've got a lot of questions for me, and maybe I have the answers. How did I die? Is that what you're going to ask?
I have theories, but it'd be nice to know.
I'm a lot closer to you, Carrie, than you think. My father, your grandfather, came to this plane maybe 120 years ago. After the last major apocalypse, he found a way to snake in, and it took him some time to establish himself. During that time, he did what I did. Fell in love with someone. Had a child. Not another demon. But he did something I could never do. Soon after I was born, he removed every last bit of humanity from me. I didn't even realize it at the time. I wouldn't have. I was what? A babe? An infant? There was still a leftover there. Maybe that's why I fell in love with your father. Maybe that's why I decided not to do what he did to my children. I don't know. But it all started before I met your father. I betrayed him. I stole something. I killed someone. I ran. First I ran far, far, far from Urborg. To places where I didn't know if he'd ever find me. Ends of the earth. I did something very terrible to him. Let me tell you, it's not because of the things he did. I will never claim to be a saint. I didn't agree with everything he did. But I did believe in order. Control of Urborg. Maybe control of the world, because I thought it might prevent a lot of the things that happened. Didn't think he was quite going about it right. Maybe that's why I did what I did. I hurt him a lot. That's why he had to do what he had to do. To keep face, power. When they caught me. He had to, well, let me tell you, you don't remember your death in this form. You remember what happened to yourself. Like you're watching it from afar. Like you're seeing it on the outside. Your own end. I know my end was swift, painless. That I do know. I don't know if that's a reassuring thing to you, but it's true. Did I deserve what happened to me? I don't know. I honestly don't. But I never blamed him. I don't now. And turns out it was all for naught. Because I'm connected to you. I do know his final fate thanks to you. Looks like we're both going. Carrie. I'm sorry.
The hell are you sorry for?
When I came back to Urborg, it was to help an old friend of mine. One that I had met when I was young. I think you've met her too. She looked after both of us in Urborg. Well, Dratha. There was an issue. I sensed it. I came back. I helped everything out. But in the end, I found your father. I fell in love. I had a family. Part of me always thought we should leave. But I don't think until I died and your father really believed the danger I warned him about, he wasn't going to leave. At least my end protected all of you. For whatever reason, you've taken after me the most. I see it in you. Well, I see it certainly in you now. But I also sense that you haven't quite given up your humanity. There's something else you can do. Another trick your grandfather won't teach you, but I can.
There a price to it?
No. No price to it.
And what is it you want to teach me?
She'll get up from the table, kind of walk over towards you and say, "Get up for a second."
I do.
She's going to give you a hug.
Probably just gonna stand there awkwardly.
Now, hug me back. Think of your father, your brothers, your sisters, the good times you had. Home. Your friends. Those that love you. Those that care for you. Think of a blush of all things alive. You are not just the sum of Urborg and the demonic energies within you. You're the sum of everything. You are as much a part of this world as you are a part of the abyss. Dominaria is your home. As it was mine too. You remember, your grandfather couldn't get rid of everything. Close your eyes and think of it all.
I do as she says.
Can you make me a charisma check? With advantage.
With advantage, ooh.
Okay. It's a little tough, but you're able to kind of zone in on like everything and this kind of warm feeling as she's kind of holding on to you, and you just feel probably the best parts of your life. All those great memories flashing into you. And as like your mother will kind of let go of you, she'll say, "Open your eyes."
I open them.
You feel different. Why are your hands so pale? So not Claude? How do you feel?
Not like myself.
But you are. She's just kind of like hold her arms out and take a look at me. My form was natural to me. Something that my father would deceive me about for many a year, till I was on my own. I thought it was a magic, but it was an echo of humanity. Yours is much stronger. Right now, you are human. You could walk among them, hide among them if you wanted, or very easily, you could return to yourself in the middle. The choice is really yours. I do not tell you not to be proud of who you are, because you should be. All three are you. Not one of them is not. The demon, the human, and in between. Just as I was both this, your mother, and of course. She's gonna kind of like walk over to like a mirror on the side, and you will see in the mirror, reflected in it, not her human side, but a demon side that looks a little similar to how you've seen yourself in the mirror. I have two sides, and you have three. And you have to learn to love all of them. I think that's important for you. You can't just let one consume you. Your grandfather would rather have you look to the mirror in the darkness. But maybe you also have to look to this side here. You're a lot weaker. Squishier. Still got the same fire and knowledge. But there's something about humanity that's important. About mortality. Look at your little friends. Wintris, Kazran. They are hundreds of times more mortal than you will ever be. But both of them are maybe more alive than you've ever let yourself be.
Yeah, I'll concede to that point. Always been a bit terrified of the other sides of me.
Look. I don't know if I was the best mother ever. I don't know. I never knew my mother. She didn't have the constitution to survive. I guess it's an advantage I had over her. Demons weren't necessarily made to give birth.
I don't know if you were the best mother either. You were the only one I ever had.
So,
And it does hurt still. A lot.
do you have anything else to ask me? I mean, this is your chance. Questions.
Would you be proud of me, no matter what choice I make in the end?
Karen, You are my daughter. You will always be my daughter. No matter what choices you make, I will always love you. As for proud of you, I'm proud that you are good at following through with what you do, that you push forward. Those choices, good or bad, are yours. And you are good with living with them. That is what I'm proud of. Whether or not I agree on them, they're your mistakes to make. There are some things I would definitely wish for you to stay away from. Honey, you do not need to drink as much as you do. You do not need to imbibe as much stuff as you do. And certainly, you should find someone to settle down with and stop hooking up randomly with people. Granted, I, for one, remember random hookups. Until you met your father, I hooked up with a lot of people, men and women. But a warm bed at night is not always the best as someone that you can stay with. Or, I guess in your case, at least one person to stay with. I don't know what your goals are there, but you should at least find one person important.
I didn't need to hear half of that. I'll give you that one. But well, it's the most mothering thing I've heard since you died, so I'll accept it for now.
I will say another thing. It'll be up to you what you say to the others. But at most I can say I love them all. After that, as far as I know, they cannot connect with me like you can. And maybe it's for the best for all of them. Through your memories, I have a vague sense what all of them are doing. And as sad as it me is to say, I am happy that your father rubbed off on them more than I did. Not that I am ashamed that you take after me more, but you will have a much more difficult life than all of them because of it. Something I am certainly sorry for.
Well, I've always been the problem child. Always been the one stuck in the past.
Or maybe you're the more of the future. You have something akin to a destiny that you can take, but maybe there's more options in front of you. I think there's plenty of them. I could see a dozen or so futures right now. Whether you want to become the ruler of Urborg, or maybe you stay in school and become some kind of professor, teaching. Thalaria's first demon professor. Travel the world more, see more of things. Unlock secrets of the universes. I never took the option of traveling. It frightened me too much. I heard the stories from my father, but I never could. Maybe that's for you. See entire new worlds, different than our own. There's so many choices that you can make. Some are more dangerous than others. Some require more work than others. But this choice is still there for you. Granted, it seems as though that you have problems that you'll have to take care of regardless of what your final choice will be. I'm afraid Urborg is in all of our bloods. Please be mindful of that woman. I know part of you understands her plight. But she's the kind of person that would have worked for your grandfather. Let me put it that way. Think about that.
Yeah, I'm starting to kind of understand that a little bit better than you might think. But
I can only
I will
read
say it's
some
nice
of the
to hear
basics.
you. I will say it's nice to hear you think I have options at least. Seems like nobody else thinks that.
They only see the options that are in front of them. It's one of those things that, as, well, an echo of your mother, deep within you, I can see that there are more options, that you can make choices. Just because you have this problem that's been coming up, that involves around your small friend Catherine, and he has goals that leads you to Orberg, doesn't mean you have to stay there. I made choices that took me back there. They did cost me my life. But I would have never had it any other way. Because I found your father. And I had you and your brothers and sisters. I had those options in front of me. I made a choice. I chose to be less of a demon than your grandfather ever was. Again, doesn't mean I didn't do awful things. I was still a demon after all. I guess your father kept a lot of that in check.
One of the few things he's good at.
I mean, there were some perks in the old days that I didn't quite enjoy. There was always something about someone sacrificing themselves to you in some ritual way that, unfortunately, did a lot for me. Be careful of that. Don't let people worship you.
Not a fan of it. Yeah, no
The
problem there.
me before I left Urborg was very different. And the me before I met your father was even more different then too. It took me decades to find a humanity that I had locked inside. And when you don't have humanity, only the demon remains. So even if you use that other side, maybe this side will help you too. Feel the humanity. Now, we might want to open the window a second, because I sense that my petunias are going to be ruined.
Alright. Gonna go open the window, I guess.
Claud. You awaken with this kind
Am I
of like...
eating petunias?
No, you could just... There's this noise that's kind of like... And you feel like, it feels like, you're in a windstorm or something. As you kind of are like waking up, you're like, oh, what's going on?
I'm gonna look around.
Alright, hey, there's ground coming at you at an incredibly high speed. Like, incredibly high speed. Like,
Probably not a good thing.
no.
Is there anything
Ah!
trying to aim for?
This nice bed of petunias.
I will aim for the petunias.
Ah!
Oh, and go into shadow. Or actually, I don't know if I can.
You don't really have time, I'm going to say, as there's this thwomping into the petunias, an explosion of flowers. And, you know, there's a Claud in your mom's petunias.
Okay, I know this isn't part of my mind. Claude, what the fuck are you doing here?
Where am I and why am I in petunias?
You're in your natural state, Claude. I will let
Those
you know
are
that.
my mother's petunias.
Like metal state or my normal...
Your mental state.
Wait.
Also,
Can his
Carrie is a
talk?
human? Yes, he can, kind of. You don't hear him. You don't know where the voice comes from because he doesn't have like a mouth.
For one, you're in my mother's petunias, and two, why the fuck are you in my mind?
You'll see, like, over on his chair nearby. Well, that was unexpected. Your grandfather.
Who's that?
That's my grandfather. Again, why are
That
you in my mother's
explains
petunias?
things. Well, you've been attacking us.
Gonna look at the grandfather for a second, and then say, I've been... what?
Yeah, you went full demon on our asses.
I wasn't involved.
No, but I'm sure you knew about it, didn't you, you fuck? Yeah, figured that. Alright.
So I tried to mentally contact you to try to get you to calm down and stop.
Well, invite him inside.
Yes, Mother. Claude, get in here. Preferably not through the window. Here, come to the door.
I'll goop over to the door.
Mm-hmm.
Can I actually, like, make myself look normal or
Actually,
no?
no, and you don't even goop. You're, like, stuck as this form, but just as, like, almost humanoid.
In a vaguely humanoid shape.
It feels so weird.
I'm sorry, I seem to not be able to present myself in a different way.
You kind of
Mother, this is Claude.
Oh yes, I know about him. Again, know your memories and all. I believe it's
Polite.
because you're in a place where Carrie can take on her various true forms, and this is probably your truest form. You're still a being. Your essence locked into a form, but what it would be without taint, without connection.
Yeah.
It also feels weird because you can't feel any of your other forms right now. It's quiet in your mind. Actually, it's actually quiet.
I'd probably take a second and you just like see me close my eyes and go, oh my god, this feels good.
Please, not in my mind. That's kind of fucking weird, man.
No,
It's really fucking weird.
I don't hear the voices.
And I get it, it's an orgasmic experience, but not in my mind.
300 years of an amalgamation of voices screaming at me.
Maybe you should try meditation.
I
I hear it's
do.
good for the soul. Maybe you're not trying hard enough.
Which soul is it good for?
All of them. Probably. I hear meditation's good for all souls.
Look,
Not that I would know.
Mr. Claude, yes?
Yes, I'm sorry to interrupt
No.
your time together.
Look, we can continue in a second, but perhaps you might be able to achieve this meditation on your own. You've learned the names of some of your other forms, yes?
Yes.
I believe one was a fiend, yes?
Yes.
Then you should be able to achieve a mental palace or existence like this one, using its abilities. We're naturally resistant to mental control. It's very hard to mess with us once we understand our own minds.
So meditate in that form?
Yes, because this is something that's a little difficult to say to you, but your truest form here would technically be considered an amalgamation of that and what was created. Unlike many of your other forms, fiendish creatures, demons, and to a lesser extent our lesser cousins, devils, we are beings that are our mana, but we are not created from a consciousness of a plane. We're created from the consciousness of existence itself. It means that we are different enough that you could use that to your advantage. Of all of your souls, I'm afraid to say that demons is probably the one that you do not hear the voice of, because it is more your own. It's probably the one that's merged with you the most. Similar to Carrie is both human and fiend, but carries both of them combined. The others, I don't know if I can do anything about for you, but before I turn back to my daughter, maybe you could use this to approach them one at a time. Speak with them. Figure out a better way that they're not yelling at you and they're more you. It's the best advice I can give you. But now that you're here, please join us for tea. Do we want tea? I'm not really drinking tea, but it might calm us all down.
There is that. I'd suggest weed, but once again, you're not a big fan.
I'm not letting you manifest that here.
Not in your mother's house.
This is my portion of your existence. If you
My
want
own
to do
mind.
that, go and hang out with your grandfather. I've already...
Nope.
It is the devil's weed.
He's already not allowed in here. Love you, Dad, but not right now. He's just like... He also does more the toodle wave, you know? Like, you know...
I'm just gonna lean over to you, Carrie. Not that it really matters much, and kind of lowly say, "You're talking to yourself."
Yep.
Yourself is talking to yourself.
Yep.
This is weird, correct?
To be fair, Claude, you do this a lot.
I've gotten better.
That it doesn't mean it doesn't happen. So, you got no room to say shit.
I'm just going to kind of shrug and look at Carrie's mom and go, "Thank you for the advice," and I'll have a seat at her table.
Mm-hmm. She'll sit back down. Carrie's still looking surprisingly just human. You know, like a human version of her.
I'm just like, at this point, whatever about that.
Mm-hmm. So...
Interesting look, by the way.
Yeah, thanks. My mom picked it out for me.
Are there any more questions? Maybe there's something I could help you with. I don't know. I know a few things about my lineage, your lineage, and surprisingly I know a few things about your father. Some things that he doesn't even know. he didn't bother looking into a lot of that stuff. And like you, I had a thirst for knowing things. Maybe that's why I discovered so much about myself and, well, decided to travel the world after everything happened with your grandfather the first time.
The fact that apparently there's more to my father than meets the eye is kind of weird. He's a pretty straightforward man.
Your father is both fortunate and unfortunately descended from some of Urborg's finest, which is not always the best thing to say.
And what exactly does that mean?
Back long before my time, and certainly your grandfather's time, and back many thousands of years ago, for a long time, Urborg was ruled over by a very powerful lich. Probably at least 1,000 years or so. This lich was the king of Urborg, the city of Urborg. And though it itself could be considered a necropolis, there were still mortals that lived amongst them. And those that he used to rule over the mortals were those descended from his own blood when he was a mortal. Your father comes from those. Granted, it is not a direct line to Nevinarau. But it's fairly close. There's probably some very powerful artifacts left over somewhere deep in Urborg that, well, your father or yourself could use. Any of my children could. You're all related to him. And he set them up that only he could use them. Turns out that anybody of his blood probably could. I didn't tell your father that part there. I did tell him that he was descended from ancient royalty in Urborg. He knew that much. The rest about that royalty being a horrible lich overlord that ruled over this land for a few thousand years, that I kept secret. You probably shouldn't tell that dragon friend of yours from Bogarden about that.
And why not,
Well,
dare I ask?
Nevinarau ended up losing the war that he started with an attempt to conquer Bogarden because of the Helikites. When his enemies counterattacked after his loss, that's when he activated his weapon that destroyed his city. In fact, some of the most powerful liches in Urborg might be related to you. Hard to say how many of them actually descend from Nevinarau's lines. It shows the lichdom. Apparently that's actually a thing that's pretty easy in your bloodline. Don't know how to do it, but never looked into it, you know. Already immortal. Don't have to worry about that thing. And technically you're mortal too, so you might have to worry about that also. You shouldn't be able to die, especially now that you've delved this deeply into your demonic heritage.
I'm sorry, I know that's probably supposed to be comforting, but in fact it is absolutely fucking terrifying.
I don't actually know if you died from an old age. Probably not for a few thousand years at least.
As long as I die at some point, I'm gonna be okay with it.
I
Not
would
looking forward
say
to seeing all my friends die.
it depends on how much you do not embrace your demon side. I myself, your grandfather, we would never die of natural causes. Death by weaponry or the like, certainly. There are ways to kill a demon.
As we've apparently seen.
Well, the way that killed your grandfather was probably not the most efficient way of doing it, but it worked.
Carrie, the good part would be I'm probably not going to go anywhere anytime soon, and the bad part might be as long as Maxwell's in the state he's in, you'd have us both.
Yep, not a big fan of the second one. Still mad at Maxwell.
Oh, yeah, you were definitely targeting him. Kaz put him in a hole.
Okay, the second part is very funny, but the first part here, grandfather, fuck you.
It was all you.
Yeah, well, you led me to it like a bitch.
And also, I don't know if you're currently still struggling. We did kind of tie you up.
Well, I'm hoping because I'm not angry anymore, at the very least, I'm not going after Maxwell. I may hate him right now, but I don't want him dead. Well, or no, alive.
Also, I'll apologize in advance. I threw some rocks at your head.
Oh, no, I told Kaz that should I go fucking psycho, knock me out, so you did exactly what you were supposed to do.
By rocks, I mean boulders.
Given that I was apparently a 12-foot tall demon,
You also
That's
covered your
valid.
friends in hordes of undead squirrels.
Yes.
okay,
There was
that's
that
kind
too.
of cool though. Can I learn how to summon undead squirrels like normally?
I think it was because the witch tested on animals and you raised what was nearby.
I just want a squirrel friend.
They were not friendly.
Well, maybe they could be.
They're mindless undead.
They could be mindless friendly undead.
The closest thing I've ever seen to that is Maxwell.
And he's not very friendly.
He's not mindless either, really.
Depends
Just
on your
doesn't make the
context.
best choices at times.
Mindless in the fact that he's kind of dumb as shit.
More makes bad choices, I would say.
I make bad choices. I have a higher intelligence than Maxwell, and I make bad choices. Maxwell just makes bad choices that mostly involve hurting me in some way, which is kind of bad if you think about it. We're supposed to be friends, and yet he's always the one, like, letting me get kidnapped, throwing me off a tree, turning me into a dog, and modifying my memory.
I don't think he intentionally tries to hurt you.
No, but most of his bad decisions seem to come back to me, which is not a good track record.
Agree.
Anyway, I know there is one last question, now I can't remember it. Oh, that's right! Because you're also kind of a nerd, Ma. Where was the name? I always forget the name.
Mhm.
Have you ever heard of Brighton of the Ildal?
The Ildal is very familiar to another branch of your father's family.
Avoid them, that's what he always said.
Well, your father comes from two places. Urborg, and a group of settlers who were left over from the time of the integration between the Plane of Wrath and Dominaria. Because a chunk of the existence of Rath came to Urborg, some of those people ended up there. Some of them were friendlier than others. The Ildal are an unusual name to hear about. The Endal are the ones I know more about. There were 2 human tribes on Rath. 4 if you consider there was a division between each of those tribes. Each of those tribes, well, one half remained effectively neutral, just living their lives under the shadow of, well, horrible overlords who create things like your friend Claud here. No offense.
None taken.
There were the Vec and the Dahl. The Vec, well, your friend Maxwell, I believe, comes from the Vec. They were a group that were more nomadic and had small townships. They ended up being those that traveled the most throughout the plain. Hence why your friend Maxwell, I think, became a merchant. Because it was in his nature, of his people. He wasn't the... They had certain colonies that stayed all year long, and others that would just wander to various places as was needed for various materials. Rath was a plane of changes constantly. So even permanent settlements were always in danger. On the other hand, there were your father's side of things, the Dahl. They were more warriors or wizards. I guess you take over after both of those sides of it there. Each of these tribes had 2 groups. The En and the Ill. The En were those that looked after each other and their tribe. I would wait for that motorcycle to pass because it's going at incredibly high speeds in a town that has a 25-mile-per-hour speed limit.
I didn't know your brain had a speed limit.
I didn't know my brain had motorcycles.
The Ill, on the other side, well, they were those that gave in to the leaders of Rath and served them.
Well, pretty par for the course there.
Well, your father's warning was something that I taught him, because I did tell him a little bit about this. I did learn a little bit about this. The Ilvec, well, they're effectively extinct. The Envec integrated into many groups across Dominaria. They were nomads. They split apart. Some countries, such as one of the ones you visited, the Merchant Country, I believe you remember it. I
Vaguely.
will give its name in a second as soon as I can open my Dominaria map. Sorry.
That's where we caught the submarine, is it?
It's where they caught the
Wasn't it?
submarine from. I believe, technically
It was
speaking...
very high the whole time.
God, let me
No big fan of water.
A lot of Maxwell's actually either descendants or relatives probably ended up there. You forget he was from a merchant family. I don't know if there's a direct or Vada. I don't know if he's got any direct descendants, but I'm sure there's plenty of people that would share blood with it. Well, if he had blood, would share it with him in Orvada. So that's where that side went. What remains of the Ilvec, well, they're either gone, or there's echoes of within the city of traders. Which what remains of that can still be found in Dominaria, in Urborg too. Dahl, on the other hand, well, a good chunk of the Endal remained in Urborg. The Ildal, well, some of them didn't get trapped in the City of Traders. It's one of the things that I managed to find out about that is hidden to history. I managed to meet with one of them. Your Righton is most likely a group of them. But I don't think he's associated with all of them. I think most of them, well, most of them have either given themselves in to a certain person outside. Yes, a good chunk of them joined the Cabal. Or became mercenaries. Though, I did hear a rumor that this might be a little bit of an offshoot, but maybe it'd be something you'd be interested in. Some Endal learned how to harness their spiritual side and actually could become shadows willingly.
That
Yep.
would make
Yep.
sense.
Perhaps the reverse could be said for an Ildal. Learned how to become a little bit more physical. If it's within the Dal bloodline. Maybe it took 200, 300 years, but he learned. No longer just confined to the shadows. The shadows, what they're made of, is a piece of the abyss, in a way. The edge of the abyss. The abyss is a realm, as far as I know of it, as being a greater demon myself, though not traveled in it, I could feel it when I was alive. Something that you probably feel too, but have never recognized, to a lesser extent. I'm sure if you were in your full demon form, you could feel it more.
Please let's not go there again.
Maybe you could, I don't know if you could either, but because you have the Endal in you, maybe you could learn to use that a little bit too. Help you travel there. Maybe a little safer than you would just as your demon form. Avoid a few of the dangers. Not have to deal with the residents who might not be friendly to you. I don't know if they'll be as hesitant to bother you as your grandfather would imply. Still, I hope that helps on your problems with the Ildal there. I don't know this right for sure, but we can speculate.
Speculation's just about all we've got right now, so there's that.
It's hard
More
to say.
information than I've been able to dig up.
Well, do you know anything about who he's working for? Remember, as I said, those that aren't working for the Cabal, which he'd probably yell at you about it if he was working for the Cabal, are mercenaries, most of them. It'd be very hard to gain one's favor. Not impossible, but hard. something to think about.
Yep, I've got a lot to think about. So, Claude, just as an aside, exactly what was I doing when you decided to invade in here?
I didn't really want to intrude, but you had the last I saw you, Wintress had tied you up, and
Kinky.
Kaz still had you floating.
Not well, actually, that could be kinky, but not with Kaz. No thanks.
But I was hoping to try to, talk to you mentally to calm you down, and so we didn't have to try to actually hurt you anymore. Not that I know if we did a lot to you.
You did not.
All right, that's good to know. And fucking terrifying.
As a true
Well-
greater demon, it comes with perks that you are very hard to kill and do a lot of destruction. The problem is that once you start a battle, you oftentimes lose sight of non-demonic allies. I could always recognize my father, but those around me were pawns. And oftentimes the most cruel feelings come out. Wish to torment, to cause pain to. That is why, after I left the Cabal, what was beginning to become the Cabal we know now, I oftentimes stayed how I am now. I got good with a sword. Learned a few other tricks. Things that I could keep myself safe and not rely on the dark powers within me unless I really needed to, because they are fearsome. And I'm afraid you're probably stronger than I ever was. You're closer to him out there.
Not a fan. Not a fan at all.
I'm not sure why. Maybe because of what he did, I was less in tuned with the natural flow of mana in the world. By removing my humanity, he hurt me. That hasn't happened to you. The witch did teach you a little properly that you can tap into your own mana. Right now, your demon form, as angry as it was taxed. It exhausted itself in a lot of ways in order to fight and destroy its enemies. Much more than it should have. But I believe we've calmed down now, and you should be safe. Thanks to the help of your friends, you didn't do more damage to them or yourself. You have a lot of powerful abilities, but unless you find a way to tap into external energy sources, which are more difficult than you think, you use part of yourself to do it. Part of yourself that can repair, given rest, your own internal mana. But you have a limited supply before you start causing damage to your own soul. I will give you the advice that it is very difficult for a demon to have permanent damage to its soul. One of the reasons we're hard to kill. Because I never went to the abyss. I couldn't return there when I died. Guess that's another disadvantage I had. The way your grandfather died was a similar thing to keep him away. There are other ways that a demon can die that it can't return. But they are not as easy. They require very powerful, very dangerous magics. The blade that slayed him was a shortcut around that. It was much less harmful to the user. Still corrupting, much less harmful. Anyway. Any more questions? And as she says that, we're going to take our first break. Give you a chance to think of your questions. And we're also going to switch back to Kaz and Maxwell briefly, because more stuff is happening there. And I want to see how they react.
Oh, no. Oh, no. Uh-oh.
Mm-hmm. So, if you need a drink, snack, or bathroom break, go ahead and take it, and we'll be back in a little bit. And we'll do that, and we'll do that. And hey, welcome back. Okay, when we left off, just a brief moment ago, we were switching from Carrie and Claude's adventures in Carrie's brain back to Maxwell and Kaz, who are in the outside world, dealing with a very perturbed demon lady and an unconscious Claude.
Kaz is gonna say, alright, Winterus, you have all these ropes secured, so hopefully I don't have to keep doing this spell, because it's getting very tiring.
Mm-hmm.
And Kaz is going to slowly lower Carrion back down to the ground.
She's got like Carrie like covered in like all these like ropes binding around her with like it looks like hooks like embedded in her like it looks like she just keeps creating them and throwing them at her almost, and they're attaching them. There's like maybe like a dozen of them attached to Carrie now, like kind of like binding her up.
Okay.
As she's like kind of struggling and kind of like screeching at you all.
Kazran's going to like effectively stand on top of the turret to get closer to eye level. Still not eye level. I need another like 5 or 6 feet.
Yes.
Before I'm eye level. Kaz is gonna say, Carrion, I don't know if you're in there or listening. I'd like you to try to calm down a little. Can you do that? We appreciate it. It doesn't work, does it?
She's like gonna screech at you with this high-pitched screech, and look at you with like these kind of red glowing like monstrous eyes that just like pierce into your soul. She's kind of like a little bit of like that foam of like anger. So there's like a little bit of like dripping like saliva from her mouth, like her fanged mouth, as she kind of screeches again and spits it towards you, looking very upset.
Okay. So that's likely a no. Just hold on a little longer, okay? We're trying to fix things.
She's just kind of growl for a little bit, just kind of like, you know, looking at you.
You're making me nervous standing so close to you, but I'm pretty sure it's fine.
You can certainly tell there's a straining on the bindings around her, too.
Okay, Winterus, please keep those bindings, secure. We're just going to have to wait. Maxwell, stay in the hole.
Am I able to hear that?
Yeah.
I put my thumb out of the hand and like just do that.
Kaz, can you make me a charisma save?
Uh-oh. I'm so fucking bad at that.
Oh no.
Oh! That's a crit, though.
You'll just like look into Carrie's, like you'll just like be all of a sudden drawn to Carrie's eyes in this form here, and just be like, you'll kind of like your mind will kind of wander a little bit, and like you'll be like you're like everybody will notice that Kaz's hand sort of reaches out for one of the bindings. All of a sudden you snap back and you're like, oh, what the hell are you doing? As another long kind of growl will come out of Carrie.
That wasn't cool, Carrie. Damn it. I was hoping that would work. Oh, I hope this is temporary.
Give me an insight check.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if I'm bad at that.
Yeah.
I am bad at that. 14.
She does actually seem calmer for whatever reason. You're not sure if it's, planning something calmer or just getting calmer. But she's calmer.
Okay. Things are improving a little, but I don't want to, make any decisions. To be safe, Maxwell, if you can, just pull up the rope. I'll be fine.
I have my hands out and they start yanking it up in comic fashion.
Like a goddamn mime.
Yeah.
Everyone's just ignoring the passed out Claude.
Well, I don't know what to do about that.
Wait, he's passed out?
Yeah, he's out. Because he's in Carrie's mind place now.
But you don't know that. You just know that Claude just collapsed forward, still in giant form, face forward into the ground.
He did tell us he was going to try something with the helmet telepathy, at least.
Yeah.
How close is Claude to me?
Like...
I will get the diagram. You are 60 feet in the air.
So I'm going to say...
Okay.
Probably, like, diagonally wise, somewhere between 75 to 100 feet away. So still a decent distance.
Okay.
I'm not going to calculate the exact, like, angle of your, your hypotenuse there, but definitely...
The full Pythagorean theorem.
Nope. Not going to go for
Come
that.
on, math major.
No, I'm lazy. You're at least 60 feet up and like 30 feet horizontally from him. At least 30 feet. I don't know the exact amount off the top of my head, but he's like you're like on you're over like above where the witch's house is, and he was like a little towards the edge of the garden on the other side.
Well, no, he came closer so I could cure wounds him.
Yeah.
He did come closer, so I guess maybe like on that closer, that 30 feet away, I'd say.
Yeah, because at one point I was under the hole and I stepped back a little bit.
That's
so I'm...
true. Okay. At least 60 feet away, we'll say. Well, a bit more like 70, 75. There you go. He's on the closer side. But, yeah, she seems to be calming down briefly for, like, a little bit. And then something will happen with Carrie. She's just gonna all of a sudden, like, strain at, like, the bindings, like a very powerful strain, as like her eyes will widen and it'll start screeching something like repeatedly, just like it sounds like bloody murder is going on.
Did I just landed her petunias?
No.
I don't know what language this is, so I cannot translate. Does anyone?
Maxwell, even in the hole here, you're feeling something odd emanating from the area around you. You feel good. You feel good. There's just something about the world out there that just feels nice all of a sudden.
I use counter charm.
This is not really gonna be charming, I'm going to say. I want you to make me a wisdom save.
I should point out, spells cannot cross through the rope trick hole.
This is not a spell.
Alright, you're fucked, man. I'm sorry.
Wait. You said wisdom save?
Wisdom save.
Uh-oh.
Ooh.
Alright, you're not forced out of the hole. There's nothing necessarily forcing you to do that. But it's just... You can feel something out there that just feels so good and empowering. You haven't felt as strong as you do now. Ever. Some kind of, like, energy all of a sudden has started emanating from that area that you can feel it soaking into you, even across this, like, the edge of the hole. And there's something going on in the dimensional pocket, too. It's as if it's absorbing this a little bit. But you know that if you were out there, you could just soak it in, and it would just feel wonderful. You also feel a little better. I'm just gonna roll something here.
Do I get healed from this?
You are indeed healing. Heal 6 all of a sudden.
Well, I guess I'll take it.
Mm-hmm.
That's almost the most you could heal from whatever's going on.
Mm-hmm. Up to you if you want to investigate it more. You're still bound.
I'm gonna stay in the bag.
Okay.
Again,
Or the
hole.
the hole, yeah.
I'll get the diagram.
Every time.
The screeching continues as it feels as though, like, Carrie's form almost kind of falls back. Like, rather than just being bound up, it like loses its control of its, like, legs and falls down a little bit. So you actually, like, will lose sight of it down into the bindings that have kind of, like, wrapped all around it. Because Wintress, these things are, like, actually binding her up, you know? They're, like, you know, wrapping around her, trying to, like, bind her. And she's, like, had, like, so many on her to keep Carrie in place. She's, like, that kind of, like, ridiculously wrapped up in the ropes, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Almost. She kind of sinks back into that. As, Claude, I will need you to give me a Constitution save here. No, not Claude, not Claude. I'm sorry. You will too. You will too, Claude. In a moment, I need Kaz because he's the closest. Kaz
Okay,
first.
make Constitution.
Yes.
Supposedly I'm better at that, but that means nothing.
I will actually say for you... Yeah, just a normal Constitution save right now.
9.
All right.
Get a fucking +6.
Claude, you will have to make one too. Not... Make it as your normal, not what your giant would give you. I will let you know. But you will have advantage on this one.
Give me 1 second then. I got to change. But you said advantage?
You will have advantage, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. That will have a result in a moment. But I know what that result will be. So, what happens is... There'll be this kind of almost black wave of energy will just kind of emanate off of Carrie's form, kind of waving over everybody. I'm just going to roll something for Wintress here and see how she's doing with all this.
Should my turret make a con save as well?
Your turret is an inanimate object and therefore is probably not affected by it. It is a artifact type creature. Construct. No.
It is immune to all conditions.
The nature of it would probably not. As effectively, a well of black mana is just appearing in the area. Is what's going on. An overwhelming amount of basically magical energy has poured over all of you. Yeah. That is why Maxwell was feeling good. Because his natural alignment is black mana. At least one of them is.
Finally, reverse healing.
Yes. It's basically raw magical energy is in the area that is emanating out of Carrie, as the ropes will now fall away, and there's a very human-looking Carrie in the middle.
Do I take hurt damage or something?
Alright, I've got to figure out, like,
Are you guys corrupted now or something?
Winch, not really. Like, what happens, like, Wintress falls unconscious from this. She is completely overwhelmed. Kaz, you manage to, like, withstand it better. There is a, like, relation, a close one, between red and black mana. They are compatible. And that advantage that you have doesn't give you advantage on the save here, but it means that you have lesser effects because of the inner nature of your being. The unfortunate thing is that I will give you one thing that I will give you. You will receive yet another level of exhaustion from this.
Ah, fuck. Okay.
But you will be conscious, and you will be okay. But you can feel that it's not completely compatible, and it feels as though, like, it's an unexpected surge of energy that doesn't quite work with your body really well. You feel as though what happens to your turret is it just kind of absorbs it. Like, right now, you would probably have the option of using necrotic energy with your turret. For a brief period of time.
Okay.
The area around there just, like, starts to bubble. It's so strange. It's as if, like, the terrain itself is altering.
I don't think I can put it in the bag this time. Whatever's happening.
Into a swamp around here.
Yes, it's converting it into, like, a swampland. The natural type of terrain that calls upon black mana. It's converting it over.
Our home's now in a swamp.
No, it's only in a limited area. Only about around the witch's cavern, witch's house. So no longer is it this kind of idyllic little forest gardeny area. It is now a roiling swamp that kind of, like, it eventually does stop kind of into the hedge maze a little bit. But, like, water wells up, the trees begin to alter, like, bugs just start to buzz around everything. Your turret is now, like, barely keeping you out of water because it's now partially submerged.
Okay. Carrion, are you there now that you're not a big demon person?
She's just unconscious on a pile of, like, limp ropes, and she looks not like herself, but like a full-blown human. Claud is face down in water, and Wintress is unconscious. At least she's on a little bit of land.
Claude also doesn't need to breathe.
Yeah, I don't think Claude can drown.
Yeah, Claude can't drown. That's the advantage he has, but he is indeed face down in the water. Hey, Maxwell, all your friends are not doing hot.
I peek out of the hole.
Wintress is
Guys?
unconscious. Carrie looks like a human isn't unconscious. Kaz looks all of a sudden worse than he was, and Claude
Kaz looks like shit.
Yeah.
Are Claude and Kazran awake or no?
No, the only one that's awake is Kaz. Wintress is unconscious.
Hey,
I should also point out
what happened while I was in there?
Carrie is a person, like a human now. Carrie's always been a person. That wasn't what I meant. Carrie's like a human, rather than like a big scary demon. I don't know if you're safe or if you should stay in the hole. I'm so tired.
I walk up to him and immediately like I examine him.
So you get out of the hole?
Yeah, I get out of the hole.
You feel right at home here. Like, the energy is still permeating the area, and this just feels as though it is wonderful. I would give it in game terms as, like, this place is effectively desecrated, which gives bonuses to undead, I believe. It's still a thing, right? I'm not forgetting.
I don't know.
This is weird. I feel just fine.
I think it's something
Great,
different.
I feel like shit.
There's something equivalent to desecration in 5th edition, but, like, that would be what it's terms in older editions. I can't remember what it is. For this.
Is there a visible effect I can see, or just, like, the aura to the place?
You can't really see.
Well, you can see the swampland
It
forming.
is swampland around you now. I don't know what it is. They might not have it in the core book, though. So I don't know. There might be. I think there's something equivalent to that somewhere, but like.
Well, there's the opposite. There's hollowed.
Yeah. So it's like unhollowed. I think that's what it is. It's unhollowed.
Catherine, stand still for a minute.
Lightning.
I extend my left hand and I cast Dispel Magic on him.
Does not work. It is not magic that has affected him. It is pure magical energy, and there's no dispelling that. This is an area that's a wellspring of mana currently. Thank you, Lightning.
I think we need to get you guys inside the house.
No.
Okay. Yeah, hollow can be unhollowed energy, so it's like unholy energy. So yeah, freaking.
Yeah. No, I'm not leaving. Carrion.
Well, we can bring her inside too. Right?
I think so. Let's try to get her just to her bed.
Okay. Then we'll come back for Claud and Wintress to help put them into bed.
Yeah, I'm not worried about Claude. He can't drown. Carrion, Wintress is on like a little outcropping of dirt. Let's just get her onto the turret, and we'll use the turret. Because the turret, we can just climb out of the maze. Instead of fucking around in the maze.
That's a good idea. I'll do the heavy lifting. You look like you deserve some rest.
Okay, thanks. Oh. Okay.
As I am about to walk away from him, I put my hand on his back and cast Cure Wounds.
He does have some damage to him, I think, so that would help.
I do. I've taken 7 damage.
Also, Maxwell, you are effectively regenerating while you are in here. Every round that you're in here, you heal up a hit point.
Oh. How many minutes have I been in here? Or rounds?
I'd say you probably would have that conversation for maybe a minute. So that's 10 hit points you've already healed. And the longer you are, the more you're just mending.
Oh. Is it like killing the others by being here, or no?
No. It does not seem to be killing them. But it does seem to be, like, absorbing into you.
Okay. I take a lot of time to do this, then.
But you'll hear a voice like, Catherine, what the hell is going on around here?
Who is it?
Radiant comes flying in.
Oh my god, Radiant. Oh my god. So much.
You look awful, and what the hell happened to this place?
I don't know exactly what happened. Carrion's not the big demon anymore. She fought us. She summoned things to fight us, and then she shot things at us and did magic at us.
I mean...
a lot.
I can feel the energy here. It's odd. It's like a mana scar on the land. Wow. This feels...
I don't know what that means.
Normally, an area of land is a natural mana pattern to it. It can vary. Like our area around us is a lot more treed, so we tend to get a little bit of blue and green mana naturally flowing through this area. You can understand that, right?
Okay.
Every terrain has a little bit of that. Farmland and plains, white mana. Forests, green. Mountains, red. Marshlands, swamplands tend to have black mana. Though there are areas that are in between. This is just pure black mana, and it's overwhelmingly powerful wall of it. Like, I can feel it in me.
Okay, Radiant, I would love to have this conversation with you. Really, it is actually very interesting.
Oh, I got
I'm so exhausted.
Slthricarthlrknk.
Great. If he could like,
You
if he could like
need my
do,
help.
if you could, I don't know how extensive your psychic or psionic abilities or whatever are, Claude did something to try to get Carrion out of whatever's happening, and then Claude fell unconscious.
There
So
goes
maybe
her
I-
mom's petunias.
what was that?
There goes her mom's petunias again.
I don't know if it's a good idea for you to do the same. Also,
I have a much more powerful mind than Claude. I can
that's
attack
probably
her.
true.
He's
but
a
also
nice boy, but weak-willed.
I'm not disagreeing. The thing that I'm nervous about is if you also fall unconscious. I don't want like you to get hurt or anything.
I have anomalous systems that would keep my body alive. My body would act on its own. Just avoid being near and looking like a tiny ship.
Okay, then don't go near the boathouse where there was a boat already.
The boathouse is fine. It is not outside of the boathouse.
Okay, good. There was a boat that was in there when we got here that I've been fixing up a little, and I'm also working on a bigger boat that isn't just a shitty little dinghy.
I will do my best. It like echoes throughout the areas, like, you know, the call of the Kraken. Kind of sounds a little whale songy.
Okay, maybe we should hold off to moving Carrion until this is dealt with.
I'm just going to roll this 2d20 here.
Sure.
Okay, I'll take the 11.
I feel a bit better by at least
Definitely.
waiting.
All right. So, the two of you are the only conscious ones except for Radiant, who... Oh, I have to make a check for Radiant. She needs to make a charisma save, too. She can get advantage on this one. Oh, she gets a big bonus. Okay. Yeah, she's fine.
Wow.
She resists, like, the... There's, like... Basically, there's kind of, like, a drug effect for both you and Maxwell. Maxwell, this place is really good. I mean, really good. You kind of feel like you want to hang around this area. AKA, it's kind of, you know, intoxicating.
You know, maybe I'm not in so much of a rush to bring the friends back to the house. I haven't felt this good since I had my liver. What were
I
we
don't know
talking
how the
about,
fuck-
Castran?
I'm so confused about everything that's happening.
I'm very content with
This-
everything that's happening.
This is...
Good for you!
I haven't felt this good since we were in that area of Circe. Man, and that was not as good as this. I just need to kind of hang around a little. No. Wow. Ooh. Kaz, I think the issue is Maxwell wasn't ready for this, like I am. I've been in areas that have very high mana concentrations that align with me. That's probably why you had a bad result just instantly going here. Again, you weren't prepared for it. Whew. It's a lot of, like, energy surging through your body at once that is compatible with it. It's unusual to describe, and I think he's getting overwhelmed with it. It might end up acting like, well, I think he's getting drunk off of it.
I'm just gonna sit here and play some music. You guys like music, right? Right?
It better be fucking calming.
Oh, it sure is. They don't call it the Song of Healing for nothing.
I'm so stressed right now.
You could just take a nap, ease all your worries away, and drift away to the music.
We will
Same for all of
switch,
us.
but make your perform check while we switch back deep into Carrie's mind.
Baby!
Is that the song?
No, that was going deep into
Yeah,
Carrie's
that's the
mind.
Song of
That was
Rest.
like the
Oh, I think
wave,
that's
the wavy,
Sparkle.
like going inside, kind of dream sequenciness. I just realized what I did. I just realized that it was effectively like a Wayne's World dream sequence thing. That's what I'm remembering with
Yeah.
it. Anyway, Carrie, Mom just asked you if there was any other questions you had right now for her. or anything else you want to talk about, dear?
Off the top of my head, no. Yeah, I got nothing.
Well, we could just stay a little while longer. I think your friends have you taken care of on the outside world, so you probably don't have to worry about that anymore. And maybe you're calmer now that you're feeling less angry, which I'm glad about. I think that's... I gotta be honest,
As much as
I don't know what I can say about a lot of your decisions sometimes, because they're your own mistakes. But I will say, I will criticize that you make some mistakes that probably you could avoid, especially if you try to cut back at least on some of the harder stuff. I understand that you might like your smoke leaf a little bit, and I won't complain about that, but maybe stay away from some of the more dangerous things.
To be fair, the experimental drugs in the underwater portion of our adventure were a bad choice in the long run.
You do realize what that was all about. That
It's
wasn't a mistake. I can sense a little bit of it. From my knowledge, and what happened to you, I think I know what you encountered. It's a poison. You were fortunate that it wasn't a lot of it, but it's a poison that comes from Urborg. It was the same poison used as part of the ritual that made me who I am.
cool! No more experimental drugs sticking specifically to smoke leaf.
I think you may have run into an agent of the Cabal who gave that to you on purpose, with the hopes that you'd return to them once you were more like your grandfather. Some of them remember what happened with me. Very few of them, because many of those end up dead. But a few more trusted individuals would probably know about it, and might want you to make you more permanently like him. Have their god reborn.
Yeah, not a fan. Not a fan at all. Why is it the Cabal are always the ones to give me my drugs? It's rude. There's got to be more drug dealers in the world other than the Cabal.
They took over most of them.
Yeah, well, that's because they're little bitches.
I think they're fractured at this point in time with the death of my father. But that doesn't mean they're not there. They don't have a central power structure like they used to. I believe it'd be more akin to a bunch of cells of them spread out over the place, attempting to rebuild the organization that, fortunately, was running very heavily on a demonic presence informing them of what to do. Doesn't mean they're not dangerous, it just means they're not as dangerous. Many agents may have gone deep into, well, sleeping, so to say, hiding, waiting to an opportunity to hopefully rebuild their connections, but waiting for those orders which may never come. Doesn't mean that they won't act if they see something appropriate to their last orders or information received. I do get the sense that most likely the power structure was never quite right without your grandfather. I have doubts that they're in any great condition, but doesn't mean they're not a threat. Hello? Excuse me? Is Carrie, home?
Okay, who the fuck is it this time?
Oh, oh, Carrie. Oh, good. You're here. Is Claude here?
Hi.
Hi. Mind if I
Oops.
open the door? There's like a beautiful young woman here. Looks human. Kind of got brownish hair. This is weird.
Whom's the fuck?
Oh, hi.
It's Damien.
It's Damien.
Damien has arrived.
We have met, you know. You don't, well, I guess you wouldn't recognize me. Is this what females of your species feel like? This is weird.
Can I get a name for you, mysterious individual who's
sorry.
apparently not human?
I'm Slthricarthlrknk.
You're the fucking Kraken?
Yes.
Why is the Kraken here? What is happening in my mind today?
Kazran asked me to try to reach in here, and it was strange. I used my abilities as mental abilities to probe in here, and discovered some kind of blockage in your mind that seemed to be carrying your main consciousness in it. I've probed around and found a delve into it, and I found myself manifesting in this form, which is unusual, as in my species, I am technically both genders.
I mean, you can have boobs and be a man. I don't give a fuck.
I do not know if I'm still both genders in your form that I've taken, but apparently I do not believe my normal form would be appropriate to your mind. Perhaps that's why I reformatted it into a more appropriate way. How would I recognize if I am man and or woman? I've seen your females, and they obviously have these large lumps on their chests. I do not know what they are used for. They are
It's all
squishy.
vibes, man. It's all based on vibes.
Yeah.
They are squishy, much like my normal body is, but the rest of my body feels hard now, and not as flexible. Also, I miss my tendrils.
Yeah, welcome to humanity. Although, some humans have tentacles. I'm not one to judge.
If it makes you feel any better, I can't control my form.
Regardless, though, this is an interesting mind palace. Of some form. And these beings that seem to exist within your consciousness. Also, something I have not seen before in my mental parabolations and dives deep into the psyches of individuals.
Don't talk to the old man outside.
Oh, I already had a nice
Or if you
conversation
do,
with
fucking
him.
ignore him.
Oh no, I could sense that he is a wellspring of incredible amounts of black mana. As a natural kraken, we are also wellsprings of energy. In our case, blue mana. We are much more in tune with the oceans. That's why many of us develop interesting abilities and control over the waves and waters. I myself could create tidal waves in a zone.
Well, that's interesting.
Well,
I
when you
guess
are a greater
some-
kraken, it's what the things you do. I am not one of the most powerful leviathans, but I am fairly powerful myself.
Would you like some tea?
Oh yes, please? I do not know if I digest in this form, but I assume I do, as I am here. Anyway,
Mad Hatter style tea party in Carrie's head.
do you wish to wake up? I believe your time could happen, and I could trigger a mental recognition back into your physical body. It would most likely expel both of us out of here, as I am not fully comprehended in here. I, in fact, could probably communicate with the outside world, thanks to my extensive psionic abilities and mental controls. It is, in fact, my area of expertise as a student here at the school. Mind magic. One of the
Yeah,
natural
gonna be
abilities
honest-
of certain krakens is to, unfortunately, influence the lesser minds of things to be servants. Not all krakens access that. It tends to be greater krakens, such as myself, that can do that occasionally, to have servants or to lure people in for crunchy meals. Though humans are not very delicious. They are too small. A nice whale? A polar bear? I miss polar bears. But when you move down here as far south as you do, you must settle as what you can do. It's whales and sharks for me. Your cows are delicious, though.
God glad to hear it, Snip. I can never say your name, I'm sorry. Half
It
the
is
time
all
I'm
right.
too high.
When you are ready, though, I could probably break this mental palace.
Yeah.
Your echoes would still remain within your mind, but I do not know if you could access them.
Yeah, at the rate we're going, I should probably go back just because I don't want more bad things to happen. Especially if I have some more demonic influences.
I'd be happy to punch him for you if you like. I don't know what that would be though.
I don't know if it would hurt me instead, because technically he is a part of my mind. And also I don't think it would really do anything, I'm gonna be honest here. He is a demon, and you are just Claud.
Might make you feel better.
A lot of things make me feel better, like punching Maxwell. Drugs.
What's it like being a mental projection in someone's brain that is a fraction of some kind of mental formatting? I guess it's okay. Interesting.
This is getting too surreal for me.
Yeah, alright. Kinky boy, I think we're ready to go back.
Your mind is much more interesting than Kazarin's. I do like his mind. It's much more structured. It is as if he's rebuilt his mind like a machine. Quite fascinating.
Wouldn't be surprised.
I should hang around with you too, Claude. I sense so many minds within you. It's interesting. I can have nice conversations with them too.
Yes, I'm quite unique.
Oh, that is right. I have been taught that I must apologize if I've been unfortunately probing into your minds. It is something that I cannot help since awakening my psionic abilities. I just sort of do it.
Sometimes I just become a demon and hurt my friends, apparently, so there's that.
The deeper one goes into mind magic, the more harder it is to not use it constantly. There are some greater abilities which require direct intervention, hence my probing into you. But, surface thoughts are constant, and simple probes are easily done with just a glance. But you understand the emotions and abilities of someone. It also works that I understand when one of you would be lying or not. Though
Maybe you should
I
talk
oftentimes
to
do not
Max
care.
about- Maybe you should talk to Max about how he can control his powers better.
Well, he can control them just fine. It's just the fact that he has about as good as
I cannot read him.
self-control as me.
I could not read him before the ring. Not because his mind is very different than anything that I've touched before. It's because I think he is more mana-based and undead. And I feel like it's weird to say. I believe the artifact apparatus deep within his skull seems to be the source of his connection.
We rip his tongue out. He doesn't have powers anymore.
He would also be dead.
Side effects.
Well, let us leave. It was very nice meeting you, Soul Mind Fragment. Other Mind Fragment, it was nice having a conversation with you about the understandings of the basics of mana as it comes to relating to the mental status. It's quite fascinating. Interesting. You do realize that apparently black mana can be used for some mental manipulation too. I did not realize that. I believed that only blue mana was proper for mental manipulation, though it seems much more destructive on the end of black mana. I guess that's why they are compatible. Maybe I should dive into some black mana uses, just in case I find enemies that require mental destruction. Sorry, it is hard for me not to think out loud, especially in this form, where I am my pure mind.
Well, Carrie's mom, it was nice meeting you, and thank you for the suggestions. I'm just gonna look like peek out the door and just go.
I do not understand that part of things. Did you require to give him part of your vestiges?
No, it's an insult.
Strange. I guess since normally I do not have these weird, small tentacles attached to a larger tentacle, I would not understand that. When you have over a dozen tentacles, you designate them for different jobs. There's the eating tentacles, manipulation tentacles, and swimming tentacles.
All right. Mom, nice seeing you. Sorry that things have happened the way that they have. Grandfather, fuck you. In general, let's get the fuck out of here. And hope that I haven't killed everyone. That'd be great to hear.
Oh, and sorry about the petunias.
I do not believe those are real.
So
You know,
trying to be
shit, they're
polite.
mind petunias, but that's the intent is what's important here.
Most likely, if you were ever to return to this place, they would be regenerated as it would be reset to the original form that it was. Shall we go?
Yeah.
I have another, what Catherine would call a date. Apparently, I'm a very good wingman? I do not know what this means exactly. It means that I have a conversation with Catherine and then run off to, I guess, what would effectively be the bathroom. But the ocean is my entire bathroom, and I only defecate approximately once a week.
Thank you for that information.
It is part of my biological processes.
Thanks so much.
I did enjoy imbibing large amounts of what you would call wine. It's an interesting effect. It is flavored water. I never thought of it. Unfortunately, your small amounts of flavored water would have no effects to me. One of these days, I would wish to drink this tea or coffee that Catherine so much enjoys. A hot liquid would be interesting. If only I could find some of large amounts that would be voluminous to my ability to manipulate it within my mouth.
Gotta go to the boiling sea and dump a bunch of like fucking tea bags into it.
You have like a Boston Tea Party to get some caffeine and a Kraken.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure we could get a really huge cauldron.
Anyway, let us go. It is time for us to return to the others and see what is happening to them. Do not worry. This will be uncomfortable, but not detrimental to your bodies. Let us start with the one that is also an invader. Let us see here. She's going to touch Claud as Claud. It's gonna hurt like a dickens. As effectively Carrie, you'll just see like white energy going from Claud as it'll kind of like disintegrate in your mind.
Ouch.
Some kind of wave.
You're like, ah! Do not worry. It is merely painful as I am forcing the transition between the mental barriers. It is an unfortunate thing that you have erected quite a many of them, and it seems though the artificial ingestion of some form of chemical/magical essences has caused extra barriers to arrive. This is most likely to allow you for long-term conversation, but I feel as though it would be approximately 72 hours before it would end at this point in time. And your unstable mana signatures seem to be causing much damage, so perhaps I should force this onto you too.
Yeah, probably, because I'm pretty sure
Alright then.
I have to have a nice conversation with the witch.
This will be different between you and me, before I must go out with you. So hold on to my hand.
Aye.
Alright then. Come this way. We must exit this building, as I believe it is another mental construct that would cause much damage if we were to, well, go in through its roof.
Alright, let's... I guess. Sure.
Alright, she'll kind of like lead you by the hand and be like, now, goodbye, mental constructs. Perhaps we can converse once again if I can find a way to dive deeper into this mental prison on a more permanent basis. Only with your permission, Miss Carrie, as it seems like this is a much more locked-off area. But I would like to converse and find out more about their existence and how they seem to be formatted from the eternal black mana which flows through your veins, as if directly connected to it.
We'll talk about it later, Kinky.
All right, then. Like, Slthricarthlrknk just, like, Superman straight up then, carrying you along with it. Just, like, fist up, just fly straight up.
I love them so much.
Just, and all of a sudden, just, like, it feels like you're, like, going at, like, incredible speeds up into the sky, just, like, burning through, like, an atmosphere or something, and you'll be separated out again. Yes, Slthricarthlrknk is hermaphrodite, but one that does require another of its species to reproduce.
Like snails.
Mm-hmm. Also, little known fact, the greater krakens can only reproduce once in their life. Once.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Fun.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, though they give birth to like a couple, they're very large, and that usually is just like hundreds of years into the life cycle, and then usually they have a few dozen young, of which usually only a couple end up getting to adulthood, you know, that kind of thing, usually. So it kind of is like a normal numbers game of like they usually are very good at replacing themselves, kind of. Anyway, Carrie.
Me.
You'll wake up first. I mean, Claud is just messed up also. But something is going to happen with that. I think... Should we take our second break here? I've gone a little late, but it depends on how long we want to go. I'm going to say.
I'm fine with it.
Because we would be around the time of second break. I know I've been kind of like going to like 11:30, but it's like 11 now. We started a little later.
I'm kind of in the I want to wrap up soon mood, personally.
Then let's just keep going. We'll skip the second break and go into the end there too. So maybe we'll end a little early. Because we're still like working on this new time frame starting at like 8:30, going to like 11:30 in that area. And which is me trying to get a hold of like proper break times for that one too. Whether it's when I want to do like just one in the middle or like two still or something.
Plus we started half an hour late anyway.
Yeah.
We started like 15 minutes late. I like started the call and then it took us a little while to get started. You know, we start, you know, like 8:30 now instead of like 8.
Yeah, but we started like 9:50 something.
Yeah, I was having mic trouble
when we went
like,
live.
Oh, that's right. We would start. I went live, and we were starting like pistol mic trouble. Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, we did start like 8:40 or something because we've been live for 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Ooh.
Woo!
All right, but it was really like a late, much later. Anyway, okay. Yeah, Carrie, you will wake up, and you feel like you have a hangover. I'm going to tell you that. Like, and it's not just any hangover. This is the worst hangover you've probably ever felt. You feel nauseous. You kind of feel weird. You're lying in a pile of ropes, and there are literal spines embedded into you. Let me put it this way. You feel painful. You can barely move your body, and you're effectively at like conscious at 0 hit points. Your head really, really hurts as if multiple large objects flew into it.
Oh yeah, Claude did mention kind of throwing boulders at my head. Ow!
Oh, thank the gods. Oh my god, you're okay.
Sort of. In a general sense. Ow. Did I kill anyone? I didn't kill anyone, right?
No, you didn't kill anyone.
Alright. You know, that's about as good as it... Did I hurt?
Winchus is probably like running over and hugging you and being like, Carrie, you're back to normal.
Yeah.
Which also hurts a lot because there's like these hooks that are embedded into you still.
I see you got the rope tricked down, Wintress. That's good.
Is she in normal form or is
She
human
looks
form?
like a human right now.
Oh, alright, still humanish. That's cool. Glad I can still do that.
Okay, we're going to have to compare notes later. First, you look like shit.
So do you, motherfucker.
Maybe,
I
but
do the cheek thing.
Like,
No.
Radiant's gonna come over to and be like, I'm just gonna... And starts pulling the hooks out, you know, like...
Ow, Radiant, that hurts even worse.
Heal for 17, Carrion, as Kaz does a cure wounds
Yeah.
on you.
Thank you, Kaz. That probably helps with this. As she's, like, pulling out the hooks, you know, like... It seems as though
Ow, Radiant, ow!
they need to come out if you're getting out of here.
I don't know, maybe I could just sleep here with hooks embedded in me.
Also,
No,
you
well,
notice,
in the
like,
first
you're
place.
outside of the witch's hut, and it's not a little, like, garden, it's a swampland with mosquitoes and bugs and insects, which seem to have been attracted to the area, and you swear there's now a frog. There might have been frogs in the pond, like, little pond that was in the garden area now. Now they're all over the place, and you just hear this croaking. They seem very happy.
Okay, Claude didn't tell me about this. Also, Slthricarthlrknk boy.
Yeah.
You're welcome. I must go
Thank
now.
you.
Thanks, Kinky boy.
thank you. I appreciate the Slthricarthlrknk.
You know, even sober, I can't say that name. Ow. Anyway,
We should compare notes after we're more well rested about what you experienced and what happened out here.
well, I have one thing I want to do before then. I'm gonna help get all the hooks out of me.
Mhm.
Stand up and go into the witch's hut.
Okay, wait, no, I'm coming.
Am I still like high as a kite, just chilling?
You're just chilling, yeah. You're like, dude, hey, Carrie.
Vibe.
Yeah, Carrie's there.
Have I healed
Maxwell,
anymore
why
since
the-
that?
You're back to full hit points.
Yo, let's go.
You've been healing up the entire time.
Maxwell, why the fuck are you acting like me when I've had a particularly long smoke?
It's the swamp.
Yeah,
Couldn't
like
tell ya.
Wintress had
Something
woken
about
up and
the
like
mana or
Wintress was
something.
unconscious for a little while. Radiant had gotten her up. That's why I'm saying like Wintress had been unconscious. Radiant got her up. She was back awake. You know, it was, you know.
It's so this swamp is like a lot of black mana, and it's good for him, I guess. I don't know. I don't understand a lot of what's happening.
Carrie, you
Um,
feel weird. You just feel weird, and you're human-y, and you're like you just feel weird. Other than feeling awful from like the horrible amounts of wounds, and you know, feeling incredibly exhausted. Well, that's
Normally-
just strange. My, you remodeled outside of my house.
warning you right now, you bitch. You've lost any sympathy.
I did
From
nothing
me.
to you. I allowed you into your mind.
Yeah.
This is a result I did not predict at all.
He also didn't
No.
stop anything that just happened.
I've
Bound
hurt
in chains.
the people that I love the most, that are still alive, for the chance to hear that, I don't know, I could technically travel between worlds, but yeah,
I told you
no.
you could. Apologies if you
you've
had
lost.
them, but I did not aim for
all-
that.
Shut up, bitch.
Hmm.
You've lost all sympathy from me. I'm not coming back here, ever. I don't care who pays me. You'll be stuck here for the rest of your miserable existence, and I will feel.
When you-
So,
When you calm
good luck
down,
with that.
perhaps you'll be a little
and
better.
then I leave.
Wait. I walk up to Carrie in a drunken stupor. Carrie, wait, before you do that, you can ask her anything you want. I think I learned how to do something.
No,
At
Maxwell,
least try to extort her if she's been bullying you, right?
Maxwell, get the
Huh?
fuck out of my face before I punch you.
Tell me how you really feel as I fall over flat on my back.
Alright. Fucking, alright.
Carrie, Kaz,
yeah.
problems.
What the fuck? Why are there more problems?
As like turning to the outside, you will see Claud sort of like begin to stand up and shape change and like kind of form together into a small, medium humanoid form that sort of like begins to solidify, looking very, very familiar.
I've
Hey,
seen this one.
Oh
the
yeah.
fuck?
Oh boy.
Once
Also,
again.
You were
Whom's-
quite rude before.
All right, round 2, motherfucker. Let's do this shit again. I'm ready to go.
just also to point out something.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on this form's hit points, it might be in the negatives.
Mm.
Because my normal hit points,
Mm-hmm.
I would be -7. Hold on,
Remember, you treat your forms like a wild shape, meaning they have their own hit point pools.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
So not a polymorph.
Not a polymorph. No.
All right, round 2, bitch. I'm ready to. I'm good for a fight.
Sorry.
Fuck you.
It's interesting to see my experiments having been so successful. Last time we met, I was a little confused.
Slthricarthlrknk hit him. Do it, hit him.
I'm so very confused already.
I don't think he's that close. He's by the water. We're in the garden.
Yeah, like a couple thousand
Shut up,
feet
this
away.
embodied Claude voice.
You'll see Radiant has her sword out and be like not sure what to do. You won't have to worry about me for long this time. But I've felt the surface, and now I've had months to read what's been going on. Maybe next time you won't be so lucky. He can't elude me forever. And perhaps this body is much better than my old one. My old master did me a favor when Volrath dubbed me into this, my best creations.
Can I punch Claude now?
Oh yeah, I'm not stopping you.
Fuck yeah.
Okay. You want to go for it? Make your
Yep,
attack.
just-
No.
It might not go well.
Your
Just a
what is your
punch.
normal strength at?
Well, I have a 20 strength.
You right now would have a 14 strength, so consider that in -3 to whatever your attack would be, because you
Well, yeah, I'll just
feel
roll
much
it, then we'll
weaker.
-3.
Mm-hmm.
Nope.
He like just holds up a hand and grabs your fist. This like kind of like strange mechanical arm that he has, with all kinds of like weird devices attached to it, kind of pushes you away.
Alright, I'm chill with that. Burning hands.
I'm just gonna roll his d20. Let's see what we go for. Okay. He'll kind of like hold up the arm and like part some of the flames, and like you'll see some burn marks, but like not major. Persistive one, aren't you?
Oh yeah, I've never learned how to quit. It's part of my issues. I have a lot of those. Can you go the fuck away now? I'm tired. Kaz looks really fucking tired. I know
Maxwell.
I'm tired.
Maxwell.
I'm good for a fight.
Maxwell, I need you to give me a charisma save with disadvantage.
Ooh, buddy. Hey, not bad.
Not
Wait,
bad.
is he technically within, like, doesn't the consecrated ground give him normal?
Not for this. What's
Okay.
going on? Experiment 7442B. Enact Operation 27 Yellow. So, Maxwell, you're gonna do something here all of a sudden. Let me just check your spells to see what you do exactly. Hey, a giant hand. No, you were out of spells for that, so that's good on you. You're not out of
I got
those.
much.
Cast a level 4 shatter, please.
Oh shit. Uh-oh.
On whom?
Carry.
Oh, sweet revenge.
How far is Carrie from Kaz? Just so I don't. Do I not have to make the?
You are probably far enough away to not be targeted.
It's a level 4 or 3.
Actually, no. You probably are within the area. I'm sorry. You all together in that area. Level 4, I said. You haven't used your spell slots. Okay. Constitution save.
Yes. The thunderclap. My favorite move. Ding!
24.
Carrie's going to be
I think I'm back
unconscious.
down.
You're back down again. Kaz is still up.
Oh, wait. Kaz, how many did you give me? You gave me 17?
Doesn't it
Yes.
blast you away?
Yeah, I'm dead.
Well, you want to be
You're
dead.
not dead.
Well, yeah. I'm back down. That's
Yeah.
what I'm
You're
saying.
making you'd be making death saves.
Oh my.
Yeah, like all of a sudden, like you just see like Maxwell, like almost like he had those like kind of like dots where his eyes should be, kind of thing. I've always described it as. They'll change as he says like the orders. His colors will change color to like jet black. So they're like these jet black fires that you can sort of see glowing in there. That if they weren't like kind of moving, you wouldn't be able to see them anymore. As then he kind of like loses himself almost.
Can I counterspell this or no? Probably not.
Probably not, because you weren't in the right mind. You just see like him like turn out an arm, as like all of a sudden his arm will transform into like just this clawed arm and be like, interesting. Like his like more human looking arm will like just become this like beast like bladed arm, like this huge like monster claw kind of thing. Fascinating. Using the body of another one of my experiments to murder my enemies.
I forgot how racist you were. Against me, a goblin specifically, if I remember. I'm remembering the terrible things that you did the last time we met, and it was bad.
Well, I sensed Mog on you. Foul, foul little servants.
Like that. Like that.
What would I refer to a slave as? Anything good?
I have a fucking name.
I don't remember any Mogs under my purview having names. They're always you, or that one. And of course then, they usually died horribly.
Okay, well, I'm still alive, bitch.
Yes you are. But doesn't seem like you can move very well. Perhaps I should just impale you. But as much as I'd like to, this is only temporary. Sawn to the surface right now. Your Claud, as he calls himself, or itself, still has some superiority. But I'll find a way back. And this body will be mine. And my experiments can continue. Once again.
No, it won't, you asshole.
As he'll kind of just snicker for a little bit, as then like you'll see his form kind of like almost that like liquid metal of Claud kind of come over it, as Claud will return to like a liquid metal form and then just kind of collapse into the water.
Okay, I was lying. I was not good for a second round of fighting.
Carrie, you will
Me?
get some gifts here from Radiant, who has I think
Yay!
at
Thanks,
least
Radiant.
one more of these left.
Thanks, Radiant, for helping me fix my, fixing my mistakes for me.
If I was there, I could spare the dying.
So
I have 3 healing spells to help.
48 plus 2. I mean, you'll
You're the
be...
one who hit me. I don't want you touching me with magic.
Yeah, well, I was possessed, so...
No, you were
So was
basically,
I.
like, effectively what it was is, it's the unfortunate thing that you were creative with, like, it's technically what we pre-programming in your head. So it's not even, like, magic, it's like you're effectively brainwashed and created to be under him. Yeah, you were Order 66th. if you're going Star Wars. Yeah, effectively.
So I was just commanded to do what the
Oh, yeah.
was forcing me to? Okay.
No, just you in general. Remember, he was the scientist in charge of the lab that created both of you.
Ah.
Yeah. Your creator was killed when he was dumped into Claud, but he now understands his existence and is trying to get to the surface. Anyway, you'll heal 20, Carrie.
Yay.
Mhm.
All right. I
make
accept
that.
it was a dumb decision.
Another 6 to
Mhm.
you, Carrie.
Thank
Maxwell,
both.
you will effectively fall unconscious for a few minutes too, because like you're all of a sudden like you're drunk. You've just been like had your like deep mind programming activated. That probably is like part of
Soldier program.
your Winter Soldier programming activated.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Bucky.
you just Buckied Carrie.
You just buckied me. That's so rude.
I really like that's how we're describing it.
It's double mind
Yeah.
probe.
Yeah. Man, Carrie's had a day. She got buckied, she's been mind probed, she's got multiple forms.
I'm only human after all.
Welcome
Anyway.
to the multiple form club.
But why don't we, as everybody begins to recover and awaken, etc., leave it here, as we've resolved the amazing adventures of Carrie and her brain. Mostly. That's probably a good
Aren't you-
place to go.
Aren't you guys proud of me? I told the witch to fuck off.
I'm so proud of you.
Mm.
Oh my god, dude, I am so proud of you.
I'm very happy, except my character wasn't able to really appreciate it.
Yes, you were very drunk and then mind controlled. And Claude has to worry about him trying to surface and take over his body.
You know who can help with that probably?
Mhm.
Slthricarthlrknk.
Yeah.
Yes.
Also, I'm planning on working on my meditation in my.
Yes, you've learned that you could try to communicate with the various individuals, which I'm not going to probably roleplay a lot of, but if
Yeah,
you work
that's
on it, I can have, like, some stuff to work that out.
And one of the things I might try to do is see if I can build a mental cage for the asshole.
Easier said than done, as, like...
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try.
Yes, that's your heavy exposure to black mana effectively allowed the Phyrexian deep within you, who was black mana by nature, to come out. So, why don't we have everybody give shout-outs to who they are, where to find them, etc., and we'll resume this with the aftermath of this entire double episode of Days next week and kind of move on to the next bit here. As we've resolved that, you know, Carrie will be able to will actually revert back to her normal half-demon self after a long rest.
Aww.
Yeah.
I'm being human.
Well, you could retain it then, but after you long rested, you would naturally do that. Right now, you couldn't, because effectively you kind of used up every bit of black mana in your body.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
Mm-hmm. You went extreme. And also, you also have... Let me see how many abilities you used. I'm going to calculate this here. You used that one, and that one. Yeah, you have 4 levels of exhaustion.
Ow.
Yeah.
Isn't it fatal at 5?
It's fatal at
That's fatal at
6. Because when your demon form started running out of black mana, she started using her own essence, which was effectively giving her levels of exhaustion that took effect within a period of time. You can fuck yourself up, but it's kind of like a barbarian rage.
Oh god, her
you can...
hit point maximum is halved.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So I'll give you the exact way that works, but yes, it's probably not good to go extreme outside the amount of black mana you would have to normally fund these things. So keep that in mind.
Emergencies only.
Yes, because it gives you levels of exhaustion that take effect technically after the fight. You know, it's when the adrenaline calms down. The fact that you were tearing your body apart takes effect. That's the good news. Kind of like a rage.
God, one
But-
more level in your speed would be
Mads, why don't you say where to find you, etc., anything like that?
Oh God, brain. Tuesdays.
8:30.
On, yeah, that time.
Also
And
8:30.
then, Josh, fuck.
Unfunny.
Unfunny one for Star Trek. Join us. Tantus and Joe and I are all on that game, and we have a lot of fun. And, this time I'm the one that has mental mind powers. Also, changelings suck, and I should have probably just knocked that bitch unconscious, but, Josh wanted to be a meanie.
I mean, he had the ability to avoid it just
Hey,
barely.
at least you got a shot on it. You know, Atulu Moss is pissed that he did not get to fire on it.
Mhm.
Me and my small security team did what we could.
Look, Tulu Moss is pissed off because his entire race was genetically engineered and enslaved by them for a long period of time, and, getting revenge on that would feel very good, especially when you realize, hey, wait a second, these people have been fucking with us since our inception.
Not to mention, we're born with the need to have a drug course through us all the time.
Yeah, that's reasons to be angry. Anyway, Fish.
Hi, everybody. I'm Fish Harlan. This week, you can find me stealing the Ghost Rider's bike and then almost immediately driving it into a river. I don't know how to ride a motorcycle.
Good luck with that one.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a spirit of vengeance. He might be pissed off, for various reasons on that one. I'm just
I
gonna give
haven't
you that
committed any grievous sins, so he can't do the penance stare on me.
one. You just be angry with you for taking this motorcycle. Lee?
Hey guys, I'm Jesse Lee Belmont. I'm a speedrunner, currently trying to get a decent level time in Paper Mario, and I also stream on Twitch, so yeah.
Cool. That's not it. Did I have this set up? I don't know. Joe. Oops.
Hey, I'm Joe. You'll find me here on Thursdays and on Unfunny's channel on Tuesdays for Star Trek. Both great games. Watch us. And you'll find me next week going back into Carrie's mind to have a bad tea party.
Yeah, let's have tea parties in my mind.
This just seems like a bad plan, but whatever.
No. Could never be a bad plan.
We're just not inviting Grandpa.
No.
I don't
fuck
believe
yeah.
you. Anytime you say it could never be a bad plan, it's a horrible plan. It's coming from someone notorious for bad plans.
I often have bad plans as well. All of my plans are bad because I just don't plan.
As for myself, Tentative Dracovin, of course, yes, I'll be on Funny One's channel Tuesdays at 8:30. Other than this, the following stuff that is tabletop related, if you're looking for RPG games, there is on both Mondays and Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Games on Mondays is Records of Evil, a Lawful Evil D&D game set in a modern-day Faerun, in which they were at an Elvian mafia wedding, assassinating someone, and having things go wrong enough that now they have to assassinate a second person because they're a witness. Second one, they have to make it look like a suicide. And also that person's been arrested by the cops. Good luck on that.
Then you have to assassinate the assassin who assassinated the assassin.
They were the assassins.
I got a knife. I'm willing to do it. You gotta give me the money, man, and I'll fucking assassinate
Well,
the
the
assassin.
thing is, they were supposed to assassinate someone. One of them was a changeling. The D&D race. Looked like another person that they were setting up. The other person got arrested for entirely different reasons to begin with, but then was also arrested because of that. And they're like, hey, he knows some stuff. Have him take care of himself. Then in Legacies of Kain, we didn't have it this week, but they are effectively in Kenya, having amazing adventures with some very shady archaeologist people, and a really nice tour guide who can teach them about animals on safari. That's not really why vampires are there in Kenya. They're really there to look for some kind of ancient relic of vampiric lore, but... And then, of course, this game at 8:30 every Thursday. Join us next week for that. Saturdays at 2 p.m. for Discussing Tabletop, where me and my guest hosts will talk about some kind of tabletop topics and news. And, of course, I usually do some streaming during the week. I'm going to be finishing up Stardew, doing some couch chatting, going for perfection. I also have been thinking about doing a game of Stellaris since the new DLC is out, and usually I do a run-through of Stellaris with the new DLC showing off stuff from it. even though, like, I don't know how well the spycraft crap they've added to it now works.
I'd have to go to my closet over that way to get all my weaponry.
You've been adding weaponry and different things.
I have a
as you've been
Beyblade.
talking.
You've got a Beyblade. I have the greatest.
Snail.
I have the greatest weapon of them all, the D20.
Oh, is that how you want to play? Is that how you want to fucking play this?
Zombie
God.
Shimmy
Checkmate.
Cthulhu.
That is a pretty big dice.
Big dice energy.
It's called Big Dice Energy.
I have a spider.
Zombie Shimmy Cthulhu.
Anyway, thanks for joining us today. I hope everybody has a good rest of your evening, good rest of your day, rest of your week if you can't join any of us for anything else. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay sane, and hopefully join us again next week. But until then, farewell, goodbye, everyone, and see you next time.